Coming up, two teams who fell in game one at home made up for things in game two. This is Locked On Now NBA.
The biggest games, the best performances, expert analysis. You are Locked On Now.
Welcome in. You're listening to Locked On Now NBA, local experts weighing in on the biggest stories on the hardwood. I'm your host, Kainani Stevens. Thank you for making Locked On Now your first listen every single weekday. We've got our Locked On NBA hosts here to recap all the playoff action from Tuesday. Ja Morant stole the show, though, and a win for Memphis in last night's biggest game.
The biggest game.
Ja Morant taking over last night, dropping 47 points and allowing Memphis to keep this series interesting as it now is tied at one game apiece. Locked On Grizzlies has more on the impressive night from Memphis's young superstar.
When in doubt, call 12. The Memphis Grizzlies. Sean Coleman here with the Locked On Grizzlies podcast. The Memphis Grizzlies, in what basically was a must-win situation in Game 2 of the Western Conference semifinals, they come out and get a big victory over the Golden State Warriors in a game where it certainly started out in a less than ideal situation in general, with Dillon Brooks being ejected with a flagrant 2 foul like Draymond Green in Game 1, some physical play. Obviously, not the best of starts for either teams. The Grizzlies were able to control the action for most of the game. Overall, it seemed like the Grizzlies played better for much of the game, but the Warriors stayed right with them. However, when it came to the fourth quarter, the score tied 77-77. Ja Morant stepped up, stood out, and took over. 47 points on the night, matching his total from last year, and once again showing just how special of a talent he could be and how he can step up in the most important situations. But just as important than Ja Morant's 47-point outburst, the Grizzlies held the Warriors to their lowest three-point percentage in a playoff game in Warriors franchise history. The Grizzlies' defense has showed up in these first two games. Steph and Clay are a combined 30 of 83 from the field and 13 of 45 from three, while the Grizzlies also made sure Jordan Poole was limited much more than he was in Game 1 for the Grizzlies to get this victory. It's been a very close matchup so far through two games, now 3 days, for the Grizzlies to be able to continue to make the adjustments that they need and continue to have players step up off the bench. DeAnthony Melton in Game 1, Zaire Williams in Game 2. A huge victory for the Grizzlies as they make the series even as the series now goes to Golden State. We'll have this and much more for you on the post-game edition of the Locked On Grizzlies podcast.
The Warriors still hold home court advantage after winning Game 1 on the road, but did they let that one slip away in the fourth in Game 2? Locked On Warriors tells you if there's anything to be worried about with Golden State's play in the Game 2 loss.
Cyrus Otts is here with your Locked On Now Warriors recap. I stopped watching the game with 17 seconds of play, but I'm looking at the box screen right now. 106-101, I believe, is the final. The story of this game, obviously, in the first 3 minutes, when Dillon Brooks did what Steve Kerr calls a dirty play, not a physical play. I could not agree more. It knocked Gary Payton II out of the game. The foul occurred on a breakaway, fast break play with Gary Payton II going up for a layup. Dillon Brooks with a full windup hits Gary Payton II in the head. The officials, Scott Foster and crew, immediately ruled it a flagrant 2, but the damage was done. Gary Payton II with an elbow injury. It is inconclusive what the injury is specifically, but based on the fact that he did not return to the game and based on early evidence from various doctors who have chimed in, it's not looking good. In all likelihood, Gary Payton II is out for the playoffs. It leaves the question of what happens with Dillon Brooks. Is he going to be allowed to come back to the series after a play as dirty as that? In the same first 3 minute mark, Draymond Green elbowed to the head. Foul was not even called despite stitches being required. Stephen Curry, moments after that, was also hit and cut, and the foul was called on that play. But nonetheless, that was the type of game that the Warriors had to endure tonight. It did not help that Klay Thompson had an abysmal night shooting, just 5 for 19 from the field. What's worse, only 2 for 12 from beyond the arc, including an air ball near the end. The Warriors lose this game 106-101. Tomorrow, Brian Witt joins me. Former Warriors, he formerly ran the Warriors Twitter account, a former columnist for NBC Sports Bay Area. The man knows the Warriors like I do. It should be a great show. This was not a great game, folks, and the Warriors lose, series tied 1-1.
Boston Celtics, playing without the Defensive Player of the Year, still had the answer for Giannis in Game 2, holding the Bucks to just 86 points in a blowout win. With the series now tied and some of that confidence back in Boston's sails, Locked On Celtics looks ahead to Game 3 in Milwaukee.
Hey, John Krause here from the Locked On Celtics podcast after the Boston Celtics beat the Milwaukee Bucks 109-86. A very, very impressive response in Game 2 after that Game 1 kind of debacle with all of their turnovers and missed shots. Very different game in this one. Very patient, especially in the first half. The first half for the Celtics in this game was basically perfect. They moved the ball really well. They didn't settle for jumpers. They didn't settle for the first three-pointers that they got. They moved the ball. They got assists. The three-pointers that they did take were open and wide open. They attacked the basket very well. Jaylen Brown was huge with 17 points in the first quarter. First quarter, Jaylen was back. Big development for the Celtics. He finished with 30 points on 11 of 18 shooting. Jason Tatum adds 29 points and 8 assists. The Celtics get 28 assists. When the Celtics are passing the ball like that and getting assists that high, they're going to be tough to beat. Great defense in the entire game, mostly in the first half. Giannis Antetokounmpo came alive in the second half, but they really held him in check at the beginning, and that was enough. The Celtics let go a little bit. They started settling in the third quarter, fourth quarter, but when it came down to it, the Celtics late in the fourth quarter started attacking again, multiple attacks, kickouts, and they got a few wide open threes. Jason Tatum, 2 wide open corner threes after attacking, kicking out, replacing, and there was a multiple attack, one by Jaylen Brown, one by Derek White, both of them getting the assists. Celtics really, really impressive here for the most part. Both teams are going to go back to Milwaukee very encouraged, but the Celtics do what they have to do to salvage the split and let Milwaukee know that this is not going to be an easy one for them. Both teams now go to Milwaukee feeling like they can split there, win games wherever they need to win. I'm going to talk about it on the Locked On Celtics podcast, so make sure you're subscribed and watch the show on YouTube.
That's it for today on Locked On Now NBA. Thank you for making Locked On Now your first listen every single weekday. Make sure you check out Locked On NBA and your team's Locked On podcast during these playoff runs. I'm Kainani Stevens. This has been Locked On Now.